Welcome back, everybody. It's that time again.
It is.
It is time for another Two Tamers Talk, but it is a special episode. This
Yes.
is our year in review episode.
I love this episode. If you can't tell, normally you guys, I don't really work on scripts or outlines. I was all about it today.
Yeah.
I was so excited about this episode. I loved how last year's year in review episode turned out.
Mhm.
I think we had great reception overall to the episode, and I think you and I both share just this excitement to do this episode.
Yeah, I'm ready to do it again.
So for those of you who are new to the channel, because we do have some new faces, this is going to be a little bit different than our normal Two Tamers Talk episode. Probably we're not going to do a cards of the week. We're not really going to talk about locals. Instead, we're going to talk about the year.
Yeah.
Because it is New Year's Eve basically coming up, and we're excited to talk about what happened this year to us. And as always, I hope everyone had a good holiday. And I was doing my homework and researching last year's episode. I was, had my notebook out, taking notes, sending them to Jesse. And this is a crazy stat to me. So last year we did the video. We were only 4 months into our channel,
right?
Digital Gate Studios. So this is our first full year into the channel. Last year, at basically the end of 4 months or whatever, we had 600 subscribers.
Yeah, we're killing it.
We're killing it. We thought we were doing amazing. We were like, oh my God, we're going to hit 1,000 in the next 6 months. We'll be so excited in a year of doing the channel.
Yeah.
Guys, we've almost quadrupled.
Yeah, we're almost
that
at 20,
so
23 almost.
Huge shout out to all of the fans.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We're at like 2,320 or something odd.
Yeah.
Subscribers. We're so close to 2,400. I'm not even going to ask for any more because I'm just so grateful for this growth.
Yeah.
In such a short period of time. We're talking like 16 months growth.
Yeah.
I know, yes, it's our second year in review, but again, last year we were only 4 months in. And what's your thought process about having a full year now of the channel under our belt compared to just 4 months?
The routine is a lot more, I want to say not palatable, but just more kind of ingrained in my day-to-day. You know, I always have something kind of popping that I want to edit or I want to shoot, or it's just become kind of just a part of my day-to-day, which I think is a lot of fun. And it gives me just a great, creative outlet. And it's a lot of fun to just do it for fun.
It is. It's absolute blast. I love when we get together with everybody and we talk about, okay, hey, we're recording this. When do we think we should release it? Let's coordinate this. And I think we've been able to do, especially this past couple weeks, just coordinate when videos drop to where it's the right time almost, I like timing the market. And our last couple deck profile videos have hit 1,000 views in a couple days. Yeah. It's doing tremendous. And I know this is a hard time for people to get time to watch YouTube videos and digest content with all the holidays and everything like that. So again, huge shout out to the fans. Thank you so much. I love it and I'm super grateful. And just like we've had changes, with the year changing, we've also had changes here on the channel that I think we should talk about.
Yeah, for sure. We've had some pretty substantial ones, I think, this year.
I would say so.
Starting out those first few months, we had a small handful of contributors and people that took time to jump on the channel. But this year has been a really big birth for putting some new faces on the channel, putting some new faces on the podcast. Really making this a locally community-based channel. And I think that's kind of been the biggest impact for me. Is just kind of coordinating with a few more peeps and trying to keep the channel as diverse and as open-minded as possible.
Yeah, and that was our goal from the beginning when we started the channel, was to really have this open community, because you and I both don't necessarily want it to be about just us.
No.
We've never wanted that. I think everyone knows that. I think we do a good job presenting that. And last year, one of our New Year's resolutions was to get more people on the channel.
There you go.
And we have successfully done that. I will
have fulfilled it.
Check complete, and I'm super excited with the progress. I love having everybody that we've had on the channel doing the podcast, doing the different perspectives. And I think I like the added competitiveness that's been added to the channel, right? Because you and I have always been decent at the game and good card players and generally scored in the top. But there's times where I would take a lot more jank to the place. And,
same.
Both of us did that, and we had a lot of fun with the jank. And it's not like we're giving that up. We're still going to do it, but it's just we've kind of had a clearer direction to go and be a little bit more competitive, especially, Basil spurring us on, because he knows, he sees us. He's like, he knows we can do better. It's like if we just like give up our dumb ideas and just play good decks, right?
Yeah.
So it's been great. It's been really refreshing. I love the direction we're heading, and I think we're gonna keep going that same way. And I think we'll still have those fun deck profile videos. Don't get me
for
wrong.
sure.
You know, we still want to shoot them. We still want to record them. But I think the idea is now is just to make it like more competitive. I think.
Yeah, I think even the jank decks that we've put together as of recently, you know,
Yes.
quote unquote jank it essentially just means off meta.
I'd agree.
But they have more of a competitive edge as far as what we're
Yeah.
playing in them, you know. So we want to make all of our decks competitive and fun. But there's been a lot of good changes this year, I think.
There's a lot of good changes for sure.
You know, we probably did most of the catch up on it with our year anniversary of the channel review. But you know, the studios changed quite a bit. We're kind of still trying to get better in that and trying to upgrade, you know, to cameras, microphones. Still working on figuring out a third mic so we can try and fit 3 people on a podcast. And so we still have some more stuff we want to do.
Yeah.
But if you go back and look at last year's video, I think, you know, strides have been made.
Yeah, I loved all of our stuff from the beginning. I liked how things have grown for sure. I love where we're at now.
Yeah.
And just going back, watching last year's video, and then just first of all, that was a great video last year. It was a really good video, and I enjoyed watching it again. And I was making my notes about, you know, things to talk about on this episode and this year, and just seeing the difference of where the cameras were placed, the background setup, like just huge difference. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun kind of just trying to make something better every day. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I also wanted to talk about changes to the game itself.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So I'll start off with probably the smallest change that I think is worth talking about. The color wheel being completely different on the cards. You know, it's really nice. I didn't mind how it was in the beginning when, you know, Omnimon, for example, is the first one comes to my head, BT1 Omni, where it's like you had a red circle and a blue circle, Digivolve.
Yeah.
And now they have that split color wheel with like different segments, and it's kind of, I don't know if I think it's easier. I think it gives more room for the card to have full art, especially when you had Digimon that could Digivolve on 3 different colors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that,
Quartzmon's a good example of that. Like
white,
how it ends
black,
up just making
green.
it, really huge down. I think that, I mean, if you go back to BT7, I think they had it right with Susanomon. Where it was just one rainbow wheel. They should have just done that from the beginning.
And I think they kind of realized that on accident, right? Where it's like, wow, the Susano looked so good with that color wheel. Let's just keep doing that.
Yeah.
So I really like that direction. I think that's a good sign of Bandai evolving and adapting for sure. And then, you know, just they added the egg symbol, which to me is kind of cute on the level 2s.
It's okay.
You know?
I've heard mixed reviews. People that like it, people that don't.
Yeah,
I see it both ways.
That's not the biggest deal. I think the biggest change is what happened to the game, right, is the fact that we have mulligans.
Yeah.
Guys, we forget because we've had it now for what feels like the entire game.
Yeah.
Right? Because the meta shifted, so many play styles and archetypes have come where the mulligans have been ingrained into us pretty well.
Yeah, and my favorite part about that is just remember the hot debate before. I mean, we talked about it on the pod before it went live. There was a huge debate amongst the community about whether or not mulligans were a good thing. And I can confidently tell you now that of all the new players I've met this year, or I guess I should say all of them were absolutely shocked when I told them that
you couldn't mulligan.
You would have to keep that hand. Every time they mulliganed, I'd be like, imagine having to keep that hand. And they were just like, no way.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this mulligans because I was curious. Since it seems like you've been playing new players nonstop at locals, just luck of the draw.
Get a lot round one,
which
for
is
sure.
Hilarious to me in a good way. Nothing against
awesome.
the new players.
I love to meet all the new players.
But it's like, again, the mulligans, the fact that we didn't used to have it. And I wanted to bring up this point because the way that, to me, the biggest change of this year is how decks are built, right? Decks used to be built, and this was always my inside joke that you're not playing enough level 3s.
13 at least.
You're like, right?
Yeah.
And me, I was 14 at least,
you
15.
were heavy. Yeah.
Unless it was a purple deck, then I could do 13 pretty easily. But now you can justify 11. You can justify 12, right?
Some people go down to 9.
You could justify so many less level 3s because of not only mulligans, but the addition of these training cards.
Yeah.
The training cards was such a good change, in my opinion, to the game, to the way decks can be built. Because what would happen is at the very beginning of the game, and I know it's probably 2 years in the making instead of 1 year, is that you'd have to build your deck to be consistent to where you had so many 3s. You had all these 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, whatever. You didn't have room for Tamers.
Yeah.
I remember almost struggling to put in a third Tamer at one point in the game, to whereas some decks can play 8. right? Or struggling to put in removal spells into decks, or just anything that would enhance your combo, give you some sort of additional edge, whatever.
You need a turn one.
You needed a turn one, right? That was so important, because if you couldn't get the ball rolling on turn one, you couldn't draw the cards, you got stuck, you fizzled out, you couldn't ever get to your thing, right? And I think that is such a good change to the game. And I know it's probably my favorite change, because now I don't have to be scared of my deck building, where it's like, man, I have zero room for anything fun, over the top, whatever, because I'm so worried about being consistent. But the mulligans, the training cards have really just added to that.
What I like about that, and kind of something that I think Bandai's done to the playing field in general, is kind of evened it out from colors to color. Obviously, some colors have better support and yada, 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 but some colors had inherently better turn ones. I mean, if you think about if you played Imperial Dramon, you know, do you have to run that many level 3s, or can you just run an extra Davis? It's going to be your memory setter. It's going to search. It's going to grab you 2 cards. You know, there's certain decks early on really had a leg up on that turn one.
Absolutely.
And I think that having the training cards implemented, I mean, as well as the boost, I think that they started this all with the boost.
Started it too, for sure.
But being able to grab any monocolor card in your deck, or any of a certain color card in your deck, I think has been really, really good. And I'm glad it's an inclusion in the game, and I'm glad that every color just has it now.
Well, how many times were you playing Old Force? You were working on Old Force, and you were so torn on those blue memory boosts.
Yeah, hated them.
Because they bottom decked your key piece, your key Tamers that you needed for the combo.
And there's so many decks that need Tamers for combos.
Yeah,
you know? And it's so much better now. Or being able to grab your one-ofs. I mean, I think that they made the restricted cards so much stronger in the fact that you can search out that reinforcing memory boost. You can grab an ice wall now with a search card. You were never able to do that before.
That's crazy.
You know? And once again, that's why Purple had a leg up in that department, because they were able to Calling or Purple Matte or whatever and grab those cards out of trash and reuse them
multiple times for sure.
Whereas every other color would just bottom deck them and then never see them again.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and then one change that we've kind of accidentally seen that I think Japan hasn't seen themselves is the addition of the movie promos, especially the white level 3 Ukomon and Louis, right? It's so interesting to see how, you know, the Japanese meta, right? Like, anybody can go online. Guys, if you're not using resources, hit up your competitive players at the scene to look up where they see all these Japanese competitive lists, because it's a great resource. It's a great tool for all. It's not like a hidden secret. This does not need to be a hidden thing. Right, how different our meta is now because we have these these movie cards. And first of all, I'm really glad they printed 2 different versions, the movie version and like the demo deck, to make it more accessible to everybody. Yeah, because I don't want anybody to ever feel like they can't play a deck due to finances or whatever.
Well, and I think some of those movie promos came in the tournament kits too.
So there's multiple ways to get your hand on a version to try out Ukomon and Louis. And I understand that not everybody likes that whole Rookie Rush style. That's fine. That's not what this is about. The point is that it's a huge change to the game, having, you know, because it used to be just green that could hatch extra eggs and push out.
Yeah, the breeding zone interaction.
Yeah, now we can start adding in so much. So this year has just been so good for the game. It's been great for the channel. It's just been really good. Guys, we want to hear your opinions in the comments. Jump in there. Let us know what changes you thought have been great that maybe we didn't mention. Or I guess if you want to be negative, feel free. Jump in the comments. Let us know what changes you didn't like.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's more to come. We'll see what's going to happen. Maybe even next year we get sideboards. Who knows? Who knows?
My favorite part about this year, as far as the changes in the game goes, is if you go back, and we've always covered regional winning list, Ultimate Cup winning list. If you go back a year and you look at some of the regionals lists that were winning, it was literally like half the pie chart was one, a quarter was another deck. Now, I think Bandai has really gone out of their way this year and done really well, whether it's aggressive ban lists or just...
Oh, that's a great point. You're right.
Just making things strong, that we have we have the most diverse meta now, currently, in Digimon that I have ever seen as far as power.
That's a great point. I should have wrote that on my notes. You should have wrote the notes.
It's all up here, buddy.
You're absolutely right. Like, it really was for a while. Even from the beginning, there was always the top decks.
Yeah.
And now it's so diverse with the inclusion of restricted lists, with the inclusion of everything that they did.
I think they're just spreading out support more too. You know, it's just
definitely.
the promos that we get, they're throwing bones to certain decks, which makes them much more fun and more competitive to play. And we've seen it in our locals too. I mean, back in the days of like BT7, you know, like 6 people would show up with blue hybrids, 6 people would show up with yellow hybrids, and then there'd be us trying to play our fun decks.
It
was a different beast back then, but now I think it's much more inclusive. It's better for new players. It's better for people that like their specific Digimon from their childhood or their favorite Digimon from the shows or whatever. You can you have a lot more freedom now to play competitively a deck that you enjoy rather than just a deck that tops.
Yeah, and one last change that just popped in my head while we were talking is the ace cards.
Yeah.
I think
there's been a lot of new mechanics this year.
Having the counterplay is so different. And it's really adds to the deck. I was playing against a blue hybrid deck the other day, and all of a sudden Zudo Ace went on top of level 4, and I was like, "What? Like, what are you doing with that?" And it's so funny because I just didn't see it coming at all, you know. And red hybrids incorporating the metal gray ace as well for certain key situations, and I think green ace has been able to take the Lilymon being able to use that a lot. So I think having these ace cards, and we're gonna find out in EX5 if any of those ace cards
are
specifically change the way the counter plays happen. But I think a lot of people wanted a little bit more counterplay, things that I can do on my opponent's turn
interaction. I think is a huge one they're messing with moving forward.
So it's very interesting. I think it's good though.
We got a lot of new keywords this year too.
A lot of new keywords.
We got barrier.
That's right. That's right.
What else did we get? All right, we're doing this on the spot.
I know. Here. This part is on the spot. My bad.
Yeah, you're good.
Anyways,
we had a whole bunch of new keywords this year, but I think that none of them have been really super game-changing.
Yeah,
I mean, Raid, we got Raid. That was a huge one.
I think Raid was huge, and I think that is a good thing for the game for sure, to be able to kind of plan for that and give Red that kind of aggression that's really nice. But it's interesting, man. It's crazy to think what has changed in a year, watching us talk about everything that happened last year to now we're here in this end of year 2 for us, and everything's changed. It's just crazy how in a good way, I would say.
Absolutely. I think that the game is in a great state.
So Jesse, you sit here, you do all the tech stuff, you edit these videos, you get to see all these view counts before anybody else does. Why don't you tell us about this here? What was our most viewed videos?
Most viewed videos of this year.
Yeah, and why don't we just not do deck profiles? Because the third one is a deck profile video. I want to do that in this different segment.
Okay. I think the first one was our unboxing of BT11.
Yeah, a case of BT11.
Yeah, that
almost up to 7,000 views.
That went up to 4K views in the first day.
That was huge. That was our biggest success, and it's amazing how great that video did and all the fan support that came along with it. And then it also a little bit disappointed me when all of our other unboxings
are around like 1.5
are not doing as good.
Yeah. Also, I think a contributor for that, and we'll get into that a little bit later, I think, is just all the cool stuff that was in that set.
Yeah, it was it was a great set.
That was the shiny cardboard set.
Yeah, it was it was awesome. I think a lot of people were curious about the common, uncommon foils and stuff like that, and all sorts of good things with BT11. And second place
was another unboxing, right?
Another unboxing.
It was the Beelzemon starter deck.
Beelzemon, and so this was one I remember because I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So you had Nito fill in.
Yeah.
Which I love having him on the channel, and I'm glad his Jetsmon video.
You'd think by the view count we pulled the.
You would think that we pulled like nothing but ghost
like
it was just a box full of ghost rare Beelzemons, but unfortunately did not. I think just so many people were curious about the pull rate, the chases, and I love the alt arts in that box, and I don't know if we'll ever be able to reciprocate a starter deck on opening like that, because that one blew my mind. I don't understand that one at all.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that you guys did a great job shooting the video.
2 days before the starter dropped.
Yeah. So I think having things early definitely helps, and hopefully we can get back to doing that for sure. But it was a great time, man. I mean, this whole year has been great. So those two were not only last year's most watched videos, they are actually our channel's most viewed videos as of right now.
Of all time.
So if you want to feel free, add to those numbers. Go ahead, open up 30 tabs on your computer, put it on mute, start farming views for us.
I don't think that's how it works.
I don't think that's how it works either. I have no idea how the YouTube view count works. Maybe someone in the comments will enlighten me or whatever. But I want to do a specific segment on the most viewed deck profiles.
Oh, yeah,
this is interesting. So I'll start with third place. Third place was BT11 Diaboromon.
BT11, okay.
which you made.
Yeah. If it's
All the
Diaboromon,
fans
chances
wanted.
are I made it. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's Diaboromon, you've loved that archetype for so long, and you've been killing it. And honestly, the fan interaction with all of our Diaboromon videos have been so good.
Been great. Yeah.
And I've been loving every moment of it. So that Diaboromon video killed it. And then second place was actually my deck profile, which I was pretty excited about. I didn't realize this.
Yeah.
So it was Hawkmon Armor Rush.
Yep.
And I'll talk more about that video in a later segment, so I'm not going to dive too much into it now and save you guys all the trouble of hearing it twice. But that video was great. There was a lot of work that went into that deck profile, a lot of creativity, and I'm very proud of that video.
And there's another one coming.
There is another one coming.
There's an update.
And our most viewed deck profile video has
to be another Diaboromon.
Is another Diaboromon. It is BT12 Diaboromon, shot like 3 months after that Diaboromon video. So, Jesse, I got to know, as the most successful deck profile video maker on the channel, what's it like, man? What's your head? What is the magic? What is the secret sauce?
Just build Diaboromon
decks.
Build just look at every set and figure out what makes this deck better.
Yeah.
Other than, because we got the ace card, so we did do an update for that.
Yeah.
And then now we're just anxiously awaiting the next set to be revealed and see if we finally get more Diaboromon stuff. So if not, I'm still gonna find more black cards that make the deck better, because that's all we can do.
That's your deck that
you
like keep on your nightstand by your bed, and if you wake up in the middle of the night and have an idea, you're like scribbling ideas for Diaboromon, right? So I was actually thinking about this. This popped in my head of what the alternative win condition could be for that rumored Diaboromon set or whatever the rumor is.
There's been tons of speculation on that.
Here's where I'm going to put my money on. I'm going to put my money on, and I'll put this on stone, whatever, that it's number of tokens on the field.
Think so?
That's what I was thinking. Because I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, like, what is the movie that featured Diaboromon and Omnimon fighting? They had a whole bunch of clones. Yeah. You had a whole bunch of Diaboromon tokens all over the place.
Sure.
And what does that deck do? It's the only deck really. Well, I guess Goldramon technically makes tokens, but it's the only one that like copies himself, right?
Yeah.
It makes tokens of Diaboromon. So it's got to be once you hit a certain number of tokens. Yeah. I can't see it anything else, right?
I could see an instance where there's a new Diaboromon. It's a new level 6, and at the beginning of every turn or something, you can tuck a Diaboromon or something. I don't know.
Okay.
And it has enough sources or something.
Once it gets a certain number of sources, you
win
that's interesting.
Or something. I don't know.
And I'm putting you on the spot with that.
I
think it's going to be number of tokens.
It probably could be.
Because, imagine you saying once you hit 20 tokens, you win the game, right? Well,
yeah, but you win. They all have rush anyways. With the right level 4. So.
True.
20, you'd have to have something else.
I didn't want to make the number too easy, because if they make that deck overpowered where it was 5 tokens, I've seen you make 5 tokens with 1 memory before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it can't be that. It's got to be a number that's harder to obtain, right?
Unless it's not hard.
Unless it's
not just
hard.
Like a Pokemon where Japan gets to play with it for a month and a half, and then we get it banned right out of the box.
We just get it banned. Very curious to see what that's going to be, but
we'll see.
Those were our most viewed deck profile videos, and so Diaboromon, that particular one, is actually our 3rd most viewed video on the channel.
Yeah.
Thank you to all the fans that love Diaboromon. And Jesse, thank you for making awesome deck profile videos, because that was one of your New Year's goals last year, is you wanted to make more deck profile videos.
Yeah.
And you have definitely stepped your game up, for sure.
The good thing about Diaboromon is there's not that many good black cards. so when there is
because
one
they're
that's
all
good,
Greymons and half red, and you can't use them anyways.
They're all dedicated to archetypes. So when you get a good generic black card, you're like, how can this work in that deck?
Yeah, so then this was actually your idea to do, and I really like that this was your idea.
Sure.
Your top 3 videos.
Okay. We're going to do mine first?
Unless you want me to go first, I don't matter.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
All right. My top 3 videos, in no particular order, I guess.
Oh, okay. I was going to do 3rd place.
Okay, I'll go 3rd place.
So
my 3rd place is going to be our BT11, not case opening, but that was the first time we did the blister versus booster box.
Oh, was that the first time we did it?
BT11.
Ah.
So that was the first time. And it was awesome because that was the set that came with the campaign rares, the foil commons, the foil uncommons. It was a set that I never got sick of opening blisters.
Yeah.
Because you were always looking for, spice up my Ulforce deck, get those foil Vidramons, those foil Vmons, without pre-release stamps covering up half the art, So I was, the ratios in that were awesome. I mean, I pulled an Alt Art Rena, I think, out of a blister pack.
Absolutely.
And the pulls were just so much better back then for whatever reason. It seems like we've done them. We've done them almost every set since then. The EX sets don't have them, but we've done it almost every other set since that, and the pull rates just aren't as great.
Yeah.
The price of the blister packs have gone up almost $1. They went from like $4.29 to $4.99 now.
Yeah.
At least locally where we are. So we're gonna keep doing them because they're a lot of fun, and we love hunting those blisters.
Good choice.
Man, it was a wildly good video.
Yeah.
My second was actually your Hawkmon Armor Rush. That was my number 2 video.
I'm gonna cross that off mine because that was.
No, it's fine. I really like that video.
Really? I'm surprised. Why is that?
I just like the decks that I like it when the videos perform really well, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's just a really strong deck. It's one of those decks that I just never get to practice against, and then when you pull it out, I don't know what to do.
So that was on my list. I'm actually gonna cross it off for better content, so that way we can talk about a different video.
You have another one in mind?
But so let me write down that around really quick. But I wanted to talk about that Hawkmon. So what I loved the most about that video was the local interaction that we had specifically at our scene with that video.
Yeah.
Because that was unlike anything ever before, right? We've always had everybody at our locals, thank you, by the way, watches our podcast. And they always come up and they come to us, man, great episode on the pod. I love listening to it when I'm at work. Or everybody at for example, James always says everybody at his work has to listen to it with them, which is awesome. I love that. I'm famous to a bunch of people I don't know. So
in a bakery.
In a bakery in California, right? But this Hawkmon one was an actual deck profile video that I just remember people grouped around me as I'm like opening this or as I'm like laying it out, and everyone's like, oh, what did you do, or how did this happen? And it was such a big deal at our local scene, and I love the community base of our channel, of our game,
for sure.
And to me, that really felt like the community coming together for this one video and really pushed me to be as creative as possible. And so it really means a lot that you picked that video, because I was gonna pick it for the reasons that I'm mentioning.
I'm glad I went first.
Yeah, I'm glad you went first, so I can kind of change mine, add one more video for content purposes.
All right, I got one left.
Yes,
it is. So I don't know if you're a comic book guy, but I love comic books, and I'm really big on first appearances.
Yeah.
So my favorite is of the year is I'm pretty sure this is the first appearance. Two Tamers Talk, I think episode 43.
Okay.
Is the first appearance of Basil on the channel.
Oh.
So that's my favorite one. If you guys haven't been paying attention, I don't know if you watch the channel or not. Basil's made a huge impact.
Huge impact. Absolutely.
Super competitive player in our meta at our locals, and he's awesome. He's like one of my favorite people to have on the channel. He's always great. Always comes with great content, and thank you again, Basil.
Seriously, Basil, thank you so much.
All right, what's your top
great
three?
choices? I love the fact that you pick some stuff, and you're just so selfless, man. You're really showing it today. I love it. Sorry. So my third place video.
Are these all your deck profiles?
I crossed one of them out, so two of them were. Now it's just one of them. Gotcha. My third one is Eosmon from the April Fool's video.
Yeah, okay.
This was you showed me the other day somebody commenting on this video.
People finding it now.
Finding it, and it's still getting them
completely out of context.
I'm all about jokes, and I'm kind of a little bit of a troll myself when it comes to messing with people, and so to me, this was such a fun video to shoot. I was so excited when the idea came to my head, and the process of tracking down 50 alt art of the level 5 Eosmon was so much fun to me. And then just the way the video kind of put together, like we didn't script that really. It was like we planned to make a deck profile video that was that bad, and then I kept finding ideas to make it funnier. Yeah. And I kind of like the way I spread things out. It was all improv. Turned out great. It was hilarious.
Well, I remember when we were done with it, you're like, "Are you gonna put this up and then just like take it down a few days later in case people find it and think we're serious?" I said, "No, leave it up. Why not?"
So again, I apologize to anyone that I made upset with that video.
Or anyone that built that deck.
Or anyone who built that deck. And I even remember...
Hopefully you watched it till the end.
Hopefully you watched like 4 Thomases, like before Thomas was even used in Mirage Galgamon, because it was before that was a thing. And I don't, as of right now, guys, have plans for another April Fool's video. I would love to keep that tradition going, but I don't think I could top this.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was so good. It just came together.
We got a
really
few months
nice.
to figure it out.
It was hilarious. I loved it. So that was my third favorite video. My second favorite video was actually Hawkmon Armor Rush because of the community aspect.
Yeah.
But I'm instead going to change this to Jacob's one of his second most recent video on the channel.
Yeah.
Is Night Raid Rush.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The reason why this Night Raid Rush video is one of my second favorite video of the year was because Night Raid was a card that came out in BT2.
Yeah.
For all those that have played in 1.0, 1.5. I have loved Night Raid. Jacob's loved Night Raid. We've both been purple players for a long time. He arguably way more than me, right? He's way better at the purple stuff.
Yeah.
And we've both been fascinated by this idea of Night Raid Rush, and we've tried it multiple sets. We tried it. I remember Jacob working on a set basically when yellow-green was popular as a Rookie Rush color, like BT4, BT5. He put together purple-green Night Raid Rush for kind of the similar ideas. And I just love the progression. So to me, this is like, card games have always been a bonding experience with my younger brother, Jacob, who my best friend, right? Absolutely adore him. And so to watch this come together to be a really good deck.
It's really good.
Not just something that we wanted to have happen. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like a good deck. The Louis and the Yokomon is really nice. The purple Mervamon is really nice addition. The Retaliation level 4s. Like, it's not just level 3s. There's so much stuff going on in this deck. I really like the depth of it, the complexity. And I think, personally, all of Jacob's deck profile videos are underrated. And I think not enough people pay attention to his stuff. So hopefully you guys get a chance to go back, watch some more of his videos. I know his Purple Red Imperial Dramon's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
That's I think, taking the cake with the best
one. To be fair,
one this
if
week.
they go back and watch most of his videos, they're all purple, so they all have the Eismon package. So you might have to swap that out with a few more generic cards.
All right, well, challenge for you, Jacob, is some new decks without the Eismon stuff, right? And then my favorite video of the whole year, drum roll please, Basil's interview after he won the
Ultimate Cup.
Ultimate Cup, man.
You got some recent videos for your favorite.
I did, which might feel like cheating, and I really did go back, and I wrote down a list of like 5 or 6 videos.
It just means we're only getting better.
I honestly think we are. I think we're at a real hot streak, and I don't think that is. Let me start that over. I definitely think it's because Basil's been contributing so much more.
Oh, for sure.
And I think he knows this. And like what I love about Basil is how humble he is and how realistic he is.
Yeah.
And you can just feel it all in the interview. It was so good. He's just honest. He doesn't tell you that he's better than you because he is. It's like he gives you his thought process for everything.
Yeah, he'll tell you. There's no secrets. Yeah.
And if anyone deserves to win that Ultimate Cup, if anyone deserves to do as well as he does, it's him.
Yeah.
Because he puts in the work. He grinds. He practices. You can't be like me and just show up at regionals with Blue Flare just playing locals and expect to take it all. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He deserves all the success he's had. And that interview was really good. And I really like the interview episodes that we've been doing. Whether it's, I remember, I've interviewed a bunch of people. And I like writing down like scripts and coming up with all that stuff. So I have an attachment to the interviews. But that one was just so good. You guys killed it. I know I wasn't a part of that video, but it was.
You were here in spirit.
I was here. Yeah. Well, you guys don't need me. But it was just so good. And again, Basil, thank you so much for everything you've done to the channel. I don't think we would have almost quadrupled our subscribers. Even the Two Tamers talk when he's on, like they just like double in views compared to what we were used to at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We were used to like 300 views was huge for us. And now we're like, oh, this one didn't hit 600 views yet. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right. So he's been a huge member of the channel. And that interview was really good. And I think, guys, when Basil's on more often, take advantage. He loves talking about his thought process. Pick his brain.
Yeah.
Asking questions
and
in the comments.
Responds in the comments.
He's very
too.
responsive. Yeah. Ask him questions, why he plays this, what his thought process on this, man, because we're just kind of blessed to have him on the channel and be part of the group. And not only that, he's a great friend.
Yeah,
so
good dude.
Thank you.
What's next?
What's next is the highest honor a Digimon set could ever receive, ever. So you started this last year. So it is time for our annual Digital Gate Studios Set of the Year Award.
Yeah.
And you and I both agreed last year on what set should win, and I think you and I both agree this year.
Last year it was BT8.
Last year it was BT8. Last year, BT8 with BT9 coming in close second.
Yep. For
winning set of the year. And this year, you want to take it away? Who are we giving this prestigious award to?
Obviously the set that had all fours.
Okay.
BT11.
Yes, I agree. Unanimous.
That's not the reason, though.
That is the
Yeah,
reason.
no,
So
dimensional phase.
congratulations, BT11, of winning this highest honor. Bandai will send you a trophy as soon as you send us your address.
Yeah, there you go. This set for me took it by leaps and bounds just because of one, it did have some of my favorite cards to play with, archetypes, but also this set I think was the most dynamic and the most fun to open. You know, we like to open cards around here. That's what we do. And BT11 had it all. It had 3 ghost rares. It had foil commons, it had foil uncommons, it had campaign rares, which were throwbacks to cards that we loved to play with before, whether it's HPD or
the Commandramon.
Commandramon, Hexablow, Seraphimon. A lot of really, really good cards. And the whole box just kept on giving. If you go back and watch either the case opening or
there's a reason why that case opening was so successful.
And the blisters versus the booster box. I mean, there's just so much you pulled out of everything. There was textured cards in almost every pack. If there wasn't, you're looking at the foil, you're looking at the common, you're looking at the uncommon, you know, because you really want those foil cards had value at locals too. Like people were trading to foil out their Hawkmon deck or foil out their Ulforce deck. It was so much fun to open that because every pack seemed to have some kind of value. I'm sad that they kind of went away from it because it is kind of, you do kind of get to that fatigue where you're opening a bunch of packs and you just look at the back one.
Yes,
look at the back one. Look at the back one. Who cares about the rest? You know, when you're opening a case, you know, you're literally just looking at that back card. So I'd like to see Bandai at least do one set a year where we can have fun like that again. I loved that the campaign rares were not in a box topper. They were seeded into the booster box.
Yeah.
It was really cool. It was awesome when you got prizing at locals and you got those because you never knew what you were going to get out of them. And they were banger cards in there. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
I think BT11 was the series. I don't want to make a Star Wars reference, but I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so it's kind of like to me a New Hope. Yeah. Where I kind of felt Digimon like slowly restricting itself leading up to BT11.
Yeah.
Like BT10 was so focused on the cross art, right? And I think a lot of people had a hard time changing how they play Digimon because they love stacks. We all love ginormous stacks with as many sources and cool, powerful inheritables. And Crossheart and Blue Flare started coming out, and they just really became, I'm going to throw this down with Rush, or I'm going to stun your board, or I'm going to Digicross out of nowhere, and I'm going to go so fast you don't have a chance. And I still like BT10. BT10 is a good set, don't get me wrong. But what I liked about BT11 and why it's my set of the year is because I was worried it was going to stay in that trend, and it completely opened up the game. I mean, I remember BT11 because, you know, like sometimes it just feels like there's a color you don't care about. You know, there's probably viewers on here that stick to 1, 2 decks at most, 3 decks at most. Nothing wrong with that. You're probably better at that one deck than I'll ever be, right? Again, nothing wrong with that. But for me, as someone who loves Digimon as a whole franchise, wants to build everything they can. I just don't have the time and energy to do it, right? There was something in every color for everything. For sure. You had a whole red Phoenixmon line, which was amazing. First time a Phoenixmon tribal came and you had all the support and going on for this. It was awesome. Green, Tyrannos had hope. People love Tyrannos. I built Tyrannos BT1 playing red-green, right? Where I would just go to a red level 5 and use the green Taiga. Well, now this green Taiga is even better, right? It's because this is just, for me, right, my deck building. And, you know, if we started the channel 2 years ago or 3 years ago, maybe this would have been on the channel, would have gotten 5,000 views because I'm very proud of this deck. But it was my red-green Tyrannos where I actually played 4 Taigas, and I played 4 of the starter deck 1 Tais, for the plus 1,000 power, right, as in a 2-cost level a tamer, right? That green Taiga combines that so effectively. Yeah, sure, Tyrannos don't have piercing anymore, but, like, you know, that's a trade-off, you know, for sure. So there was just so much to build for every color. Like, you had the Ignite Mon for purple, you had all of that Merva stuff for purple, you had it's just so much. It's just so much for so many different tribes, and it felt refreshing. It was so refreshing.
If you go back to kind of just, you know, those childhood itches you like to scratch. When I was thinking about it, because I opened one of the gold Mastamons out of a box.
That's right. I forgot you did.
And oh my God, if it didn't flash back to one of my favorite movies as a kid, which was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, actually hitting that gold card out of a pack, you're just like, you see the edge, and you're like, no way, you know. And this is back when they were like $400 or $500.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool to open one. Because usually we wait and we get good deals on some of the ghost cards.
Wait for the prices
we have
to drop.
Wait for them to drop, but being able to actually pull one. I mean, you pulled a Ghost Omni, that was really cool. So the feeling. It's like to pull that ultra rare card.
Yeah.
But for it to be gold, man, I was just like, this is awesome.
Yeah, no, the BT11 was just a great set. It just felt so refreshing. Felt like they really opened the game up. I mean, even the Digimon had so much support. People loved that. The Metal Mommymon, like who would have thought one of my favorite decks, Boncho Mommymon, was getting support with the brand new Mommymon, and that Mommymon kind of became a staple in black for a while.
Yeah.
There's just so many good things out of BT11.
First secret rare Tamer.
Yeah, I
first and probably only time they'll ever do that.
Yeah, and all the Tamer alt arts were really good.
Yeah,
it's kind of, I think they've been the best.
Yeah, they had the Yuya and
the Taiga, the Red Phoenix Tamer, Akiyu, however you say it. Yeah, it just, the entire set was really good.
They were bangers.
It was a great set, man. BT11 was a good time, and so that was our set of the year. Congratulations.
The first set was our set of the year.
Bandai, next time you're in the area, come here to Jesse's studio. We will present you the trophy in person.
A piece of paper.
We cannot wait
handshake.
to meet the CEO of Bandai, or the head of Digimon Card Design, and let us know. Anyways, so.
All right. Let's go. What are we doing? Our favorite alt arts?
Yes. So this was a segment that was really fun last year. We were kind of playing around with like cards of the year, but cards of the year just didn't feel right, and we ultimately decided what we like on this channel is alt arts.
I love alt arts,
and we love talking about them, and I think we had a great idea last year, so we're just gonna take it straight out of last year's playbook.
Sweet.
Except last year we agreed and we just did unanimous.
Nah, let's fire. Let's
split up a little this year, right? If you want to take first, we'll start
the eggs.
The eggs.
Yeah,
level 2.
Level 2 is actually a card that technically didn't come out this year, but it did.
Okay.
It is the BT7 Doraemon.
Ooh.
But the alt art out of the BT11.
So good.
I love that card. It's a card that I remember before it came out, the pre-release of the other ones. I mean, it's the Alphamon egg, right?
Yeah.
But it's also been adopted into other archetypes like Machine Dramon.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using it for that, and there seems like they're only adding more, especially with Mind Link.
Oh, yeah.
Doraemon's been really popular in black decks. So I love this alt art. I love it when they alt art eggs and give them texture. It was one of the higher money pulls out of the campaign rares, out of that box for sure.
Well, speaking of higher money, what I liked is I remember I paid $50 each for a playset of pre-release Doraemons.
Oh, a long time ago.
Yeah. And I would much rather take a loss and let everybody else benefit.
Yeah.
And the fact that we were able to have a better alt art for cheaper.
Yeah.
That is more accessible to people made my day. I love that. The artwork is so good.
So good.
Yeah.
All right, what's your egg?
I'm changing it again because I had one idea. I walked into the studio, changed it, now I'm changed it back.
Sure.
Pagumon from the Beelzemon starter deck.
Oh, okay.
Another card that technically didn't come out this year. Was one of the early purple eggs. I think it's from the starter deck.
But it's an alt art, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the alt art for the Pagumon that specifically came out of the Beelzemon starter deck. I love alt art eggs. Last year we had It's So Good with EX2 eggs, where they look so good, but you couldn't use them all.
Yeah.
And like even the Yamon didn't fit well into the Beelzemon deck as good as this Pagumon.
Yeah.
And so what I really appreciated about Bandai was when they made this advanced deck, because it's not even like a starter deck. It's an advanced deck, right? They had alt arts of cards that you would use. And you would buy this and you get a full set of the Pagumon.
That's right.
So I love it when alt arts that are good are easily accessible to people, right? Because I don't want anybody to have to go broke playing this game.
No.
Nobody
does.
If you do, you got to evaluate your life priorities. I'm sorry. That's a it's a conversation we can have offline. But like people should be able to enjoy this game.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have such a strong deck, that honestly was kind of defining of the year for a long time.
For a while, yeah.
For the first half of the year, Beelzemon was everything.
You were going to hit at least one or two of them at locals.
Yeah, and it still is a very strong deck, and I think it's good that they gave Pokemon that fancy treatment, and that we kind of deserve that, and
Yeah.
Beelzemon players deserve that. So Bandai, I hope you get enough appreciation for your insight on doing that, and I hope you keep up that mindset and give us more key cards when you're coming out with these advanced decks, or you're coming out with things like, oh hey, this card is used a lot. There's not a good alt art. Let's make one.
Tuck it in there.
Yeah.
Give us that Hagurumon alt art.
We still need. Come on, man. Come on. Where is that?
All right. Well, that's a good segue into level 3s.
Yes.
So let's jump into rookies.
Sure.
Mine is actually going to be a recent one. BT14 Gomamon. Was that yours too?
That's mine too.
Yeah,
That's unanimous.
That's unanimous. We'll keep it there.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yep. It's marching fishes. It is texture. He's angry in it.
Yep.
Like, just everything looks great. So
yeah, a lot of times what I think about when I think of alt arts of cards is the balance on the card between the background, the way the Digimon is orientated, right? Because you want to have. It's hard. I'm not an artist. I barely draw a straight stick figure. I'm horrible at this stuff. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes, with the cards, you don't want like a weird view of the Digimon that's center frame. But you also don't want like a front-facing view that's just stationary and motionless. You need that life and the sun in the background, the Dolphmon. Well, speaking of which, we have not had a second Dolphmon card. We've only had one since BT1.
It's true.
So we need another one of those. But you're right. The balance is so good. I love a lot of bright, vibrant colors, and the fish has really tied it in well.
Yeah.
That card is so good.
It's really good.
Very, very good card. So
all right. Well, that one's agreed. Moving on. My next one. So we're gonna go into level 4s.
Level 4s.
Greymon X. The BT9 Greymon X.
That was a contender. That was a contender.
Pre-release winner card. This card, I love it when Bandai does this because they do it so rarely and makes me think they listen to the podcast sometimes.
They're huge subscribers.
Holy crap, do we complain about pre-release winning cards and how bad they typically are, because we got teased so early on with that.
Yeah.
Pulsemon, different art. It was very used card in yellow for a very,
literally
very,
what we
very
talked
long
about
time.
last year too.
Yeah.
Was that. Yeah.
And they didn't have a good pre-release winner until we finally got something that everyone uses. Like if you play Greymon, you play for Greymon X.
Yep.
Pretty much. Because they limited the other one, so you play 4 and 1. And the other art was cokey and it was terrible.
I was gonna say I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, it is. It's flat. It's kind of colorless, but and white bordered, ugly. But this Greymon X looks great.
So
when
good.
they announced
It's
this,
so
I was like,
good.
finally, this is going to be a $20, $30 card. It gives people a reason to go play pre-release, and that's the other half of why I like this card, is because we like to see huge turnouts at pre-release, because we want that's the best intro to the game. It's the best way to jump in and just play the game and have a fun, unrestricted way to play. But they never made it worthwhile for a lot of people because, well, I can either spend $30, $40 and go to a pre-release, or I can just buy the winner card on TCG for $4, $3. Who cares? Okay. But this Greymon X, this is a card that's
so good. The art.
This is the only printing of it that I know of that's gonna happen. So if you really want to max rarity and get rid of that flat, ugly, cokey art, you're gonna have to either.
And it's foiled.
Yeah. So you had to show up to multiple pre-releases and win, or or it's got good value. So that's my level 4. What do you got?
That was a great choice. That was definitely in my contender. I'm glad I did change in my mind. But EX4 Gold Vidramon is my level 4 alt art.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
I love this artwork. I am a huge fan. So I am a Digimon fan. I'm a Transformers fan. And a lot of things that these things have in common is kind of like repaints. Mm-hmm. So like Vidramon, Gold Vidramon. We don't have a red Vidramon yet.
Yeah.
Right. But we got orange Wargrowmon in BT4. But we don't have another Vidramon. But anyways, besides the point, I love this art. This art is so good. It's very clean. It's the good balance where the Digimon's like nice front and center. The card balance, it's textured nice.
Texture's great. Yeah.
Everything about this card is just so good. I think it's the best level 4 artwork wise. It's so clean. It's so good. I want more. I want more like that. I want every card in that style all the time to play with. Please.
Okay. All right. So level 5s.
I think we're gonna agree again.
I think we're gonna agree on this one too.
Yeah.
Metal Gray Ace.
Metal Gray Ace, baby.
Yeah,
the one that I
English
pulled.
Exclusive. You guys can go back and check that video out. But I talk ad nauseum about how important that the English exclusive, an English artist, Dan Mora. It's fantastic art. You can tell it's an English take It's a Western take, I should say, on the artwork of Digimon.
Absolutely.
It's its own kind of style. It's Dan Mora's style. If you're a comic book fan, if you're an X-Men fan, Power Rangers fan, he did a bunch of DC stuff too.
Yeah.
He has a very distinct artwork style, and it really shines through on this. And then Bandai topped it off by throwing some awesome texture on it.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's probably the worst of all the Ace cards, but
yeah, but it is used in
it's
like
the
red
best art.
hybrids.
It
I've
is. There
started
is
to
a
see
one-of
some
in red
growth,
hybrids.
you know,
Yeah,
in that.
yeah.
I actually wrote down all English Ace BT14, so
Okay.
you know we could give an honorable mention to all three.
Yeah.
But the metal gray is obviously my favorite, and I think everybody knows that from every video I've talked about it. Unfortunately,
4, right? Is
the
that 4?
Zodu Lily, well, the Lily one I do not like,
Oh,
but that
what?
is a controversial opinion, and that is strictly personal preference. I think
Yeah.
the regular alt art is
Yeah.
better,
It's Zodu.
and Magna Angemon.
So it's 4.
So
Yeah.
there's 4, and the Magna Angemon's tough because they both look good.
They both look good.
One's
yeah.
just more exclusive, and the
Yeah.
Zodumon's kind of similar, where they're both really good
I
too.
think the
but
texturing's better on the regular art.
Yeah.
And the artwork is better on the English. It's interesting.
But I think the Metal Gray Ace is the best of them all. I have 3,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna submit them for grading probably January something. So I don't know if we're gonna do like a video when I get my grade haul back. 'Cause I'm
We
sending a
could.
bunch of stuff. We haven't planned that far. We generally don't plan super far, anyways.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to get that graded. Hopefully, I get a nice 10 because I love that artwork, and I'm a huge Metal Greymon fan. It's incredible art. So
Yep.
yeah,
Level 6.
Level 6s, man. What do you got? This is gonna be a fun one, I think.
Mine is BT12. It is
Okay.
Ulforce X.
That makes a lot
I
of sense.
love that art. Not only is
Sure.
it one of my favorite decks to play, but that artwork is very detailed.
Mhm.
It's distracting when it's on the board because the card has so much going on.
Yeah.
And it just blows the regular art out of the water. I love the kind of the upgraded version of Ulforce, like
Sure.
we talked about a long time ago stuff. I've always been a huge Power Ranger fan.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
that like he just gets more stuff on, It's just like when the Megazord gets one more piece, It's just like
yep.
the Ulforce he just looks so awesome. I keep waiting to try and find I can't find any models or anything of Ulforce X.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have an Ulforce X model. So if you guys know of any, I looked on Big Bad Toy Store, all that stuff. I can't find any. So
Speaking of that, I get my Metal Gray model kit like tomorrow from
there you go.
FedEx. And he's got like it's like a stylized version, so it doesn't have his like purple wings,
Yeah.
but he's also got the Alturus mode arm cannon. I'm super excited for. So that's
well, maybe on the next podcast we'll have it sitting right in front of Jeff.
right if I get it put up. But
There you go. All right, what's your
that
your
Old
mega?
Force X was a great choice. Mine's gonna be kind of the opposite for actually an opposite reason.
Okay.
Mine is actually BT11 Marsmon.
Oh,
Altards.
that makes sense.
Yes, because I am a fan of a more simpler. Like, I love like I'm a big Power Rangers fan too, so I
Yeah.
love like the Megazord with all that stuff. But there comes a point in my head where things get too busy
Mhm.
on arts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think BT11 Marsmon is just such a clean balance.
Yeah.
And I remember every time anyone around me opened a pack of BT11, because BT11 was such a great set,
Yeah.
they pulled the Altar BT11 Marsmon, and they just wanted to build a deck with it because they
Yeah.
just gravitated towards that card. They did such a good job balancing where you get to see the full features of the Digimon very cleanly with the nice fire around his fist.
Yeah.
It's such a clean card,
First
man.
level 6 with Raid, right? I wanna say?
Yes.
I wanna say?
Yes.
It's
Because
before the Wargrave stuff.
there was actually a Marsmon in an earlier set. I want to say like 8 or 7
Yeah.
that had like a similar style.
But it wasn't called Raid.
But it wasn't called Raid, where this is the first card with Raid. And I love this Marsmon alt art. And I'm just still clinging on to trying to make a deck with this and make things work. The whole Grizzly line was so cool. Another reason why, because BT11 was just, again, packed full of so many things to do. You had the whole Phoenix line in red. You had the whole Marsmon line in red. You had so much to do in BT11. And I think BT11 Marsmon is just such a clean card. And that's my favorite level 6 of the year. It's such a good one.
All right.
Level 7. I have a feeling we might be on the same page for this
Think
one.
so?
Yeah, let me see.
I have a feeling we're different.
Okay.
But I don't know. I went with EX4.
I did too.
Ruin mode.
Oh, we are different. Okay.
I went with Ruin mode. I really like Shine Gray Ruin mode. It is
It's very clean.
It's very clean. It's very angry. It really symbolizes what the card does,
Mhm.
in which you put it on the field and your opponent just stares at it which is great because
Yeah.
it's such a good looking card. You know, so it's like, yes, this card just gained me 2 free turns essentially, but you can stare at it while it's there.
It is, yeah, that card is great. That is a good one.
And when it's gone, it's still gonna hurt you. You know, that's the best part. You know, so yeah, I was really excited about that. I know that there was a couple more honorable mentions, but let's hear yours.
Yeah, there was a lot of honorable mentions for all of these levels, but level 7 is really hard to tie down. Mine is Alter B.
Okay.
Mine is Alter B because it's kind of like the opposite reasoning as everything I've been saying, where I like when the background's distinct and it's simplified.
Yeah.
It from a distance, it's all kind of like a black blur.
Yeah.
But the closer you get to the Alter B, the more detail just really pops out.
It's a really great looking
They
card.
did a really good job just with all the sculpting and texturing, like on the individual heads of the arms. And it was really nice to have like this menacing Digimon, Alter B, have its own dedicated deck, and then people like trying to find ways to experiment with other decks with this card. So I'm a huge fan of this art. I think the alt art's amazing. The X4 had a lot of good alt arts for sure. It was a great card.
I was for sure thought you were gonna say Quartzmon.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't even in my top 5.
Really?
Level 7. So
I think it looks really cool.
It looks great, but it's, I don't know, it's not my thing. Like,
just
and
a blob.
I don't like the card. I don't like what Quartzmon does to people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like I just try to ignore it. But
all right. Tamers. Mine is a recent one, not because I play the deck, but I just love the artwork.
Okay.
And that is BT14, the dog tamer, Eiji.
That is such a good one.
Satsumi is good too. I really like this direction of art style that they're choosing to go with Tamers.
Yeah.
It's a complete 180 from the stuff that I'm not a huge fan of, which
I
is
agree.
BT, what was it, BT 12 and 13, where you had like the really cartoony alt arts where they're either running or just kind of, you know, just random action with good texturing. This is the more refined look that I really, really like. And I only saying this because I really, really hope that if and when they give us a new Errata Sonata,
that
it's done by this artist. Because I really like this style.
Yeah.
And we have more of this style coming in future sets.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a more mature take on the game and kind of especially what these decks do. So
I think that's a great point. I think you nailed all the points perfectly on that. And I was going to pick the D Brigade Tamer originally.
Yeah.
But I decided that the art is a little too dark. And sometimes little backstory about me, 2 seconds. I have really bad vision. I have like horrible vision my entire life. And so like I'm the guy who has all the lights on to see things, flashlights on when I drop something. My eyesight's horrible. I've gotten surgeries corrected. So for me, I don't necessarily like it when they're super dark like that. So that Tamer got second place.
Okay.
First place to me was BT11 Akiyu Rindu, the Phoenixmon Tamer.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I loved the texturing, and I loved all the BT11 Tamers. They were all fantastic. Yeah. And that's my personal preference. Like I love, like you said, what they did with BT14. I think that's a good direction. I think BT11 is a good direction. In between, not so much.
Yeah.
They kind of dropped the ball a little bit. And I really wanted to pick Taiga as my favorite.
Yeah, another good artwork.
But Taiga doesn't have a Tyrannomon on the artwork.
True.
Whereas the Akiyu at least has Biomon on the artwork.
Chilling.
So it's like it's the egg that or it's the deck. It fits in so well. It's very clean. Texture's great. So that's my Tamer, and I really like the direction they were going in BT11. I do like the direction they're going in BT14 with the Tamers, and I think it is going to continue on in that way too. So
perfect. All right, we only got one thing left.
One type of card left.
And that is option cards.
Options.
Mine is another BT8 card. It is the Store Championship Gold Crimson Blaze.
Okay.
I really like this card. I think that card. It is. It's really hit or miss for me on the gold cards. I think some of them look good. Some of them kind of is a little too over the top.
Yeah.
But I think it really fits in well on the Crimson Blaze and just what that card does and just how shiny, like when it pops out of security and it's just this golden fireball thing and it's just so good. It's a great value card. It's just so much fun. I think it's a great card in red, especially for this format. So if you're going to play it, spend the extra couple bucks and get a
because they're not that expensive either.
No, there's store participant ones and they're cheap. Yeah. So I think it's a great artwork.
So if they made an event pack version of it, it's all red, would you like that one more?
I'd have to see it. Because I've seen the Gravity Crush, and I think it would have a similar treatment.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it would be as good as just the solid gold.
Because I have event pack cards as like my second place in all of these categories almost.
Oh, really?
Because they were all good except
Yeah.
blue. Except blue ones are crap. They're just really bad.
Yeah.
They need to be a different shade of blue.
Even the black ones aren't great. Like the Analog Man and the Attack of the Heavy Mobile, the edges on those, the black edges are barely noticeable.
Yeah.
But like a Flame Hell Scythe.
The Flame Hell Scythe. And that's my second place for options.
Because it looks really good because
so
they cut the border in half with the colors too. It looks
so you have
really
like
good.
a full purple card and you have a full yellow card. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But my option is the X Antibody from that same Beelzemon starter deck where I started with the egg.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And this one was kind of a tough choice because I love the memory boosts, but the memory boosts are kind of getting phased out. And, or not phased out completely. Phased down.
Essentially.
You know, they're still used. You still use them.
They take a second place to training cards in 9 out of 10 instances.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think what we're left with is, I think, a key card that is never going to go away.
Yeah.
And that is the X Antibody. Yes, we are getting a new version of X Antibody in the EX5 Protoform. And I'm not an expert enough to tell you, especially because I've been so kind of like off my game lately with how much that card's going to be used. But I don't see the classic X Antibody going away.
Yeah, because I think the
so
Protoform can be stripped.
And it's like, could you imagine, again, this is just an instance of Bandai being like, hey, this card is used a lot. Let's give a nice shiny version of it that everybody's going to want to use. And not only that, it's affordable.
Let's tank those pre-release prices.
Which, again, happened to me, but that's okay. I would rather sacrifice for everybody else. This X Antibody option's so good, and I think it's rightfully deserves to have a good alt art.
Absolutely.
When you're going to tuck it, you always want it. You're always looking for it. You know,
the texturing on it's amazing.
I can't imagine not having this version particular of the X Antibody option. So, yeah.
All right.
So this is the segment that I wanted to take over and lead on because I'm going to be, this one's really personal to me. So we're going to do a moment of the year.
Okay.
Right. We didn't do this last year, so this is kind of a new one. We'll see how it goes. Oh, and before I dive into that, guys, let us know in the comments what your favorite alt arts were. I completely forgot that. We want that interaction. We want to know what you thought of your best alt arts of the year. But anyways, moment of the year. For me, so much came down to like the peak of the year. We finally did this thing that we talked about for so long, which is going to the Pasadena Core Regionals.
Yeah.
And it was a really, really good time, a great trip, meant so much. But the thing that really just took it all away from me was Jacob, top 32 at regionals with Belfamon.
Yep.
I couldn't, I love my brother. I'm a huge, I want him to be successful in anything that he does. He has been playing card games forever. He's very good at them, very smart. And he's the guy, one of the main guys besides you and Basil and stuff that I go to with deck ideas. And his opinion means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So to have him do that well at regionals with Belfamon, especially like he wasn't sacrificing his preferred play style or color, right, to play at regionals, and he really stuck with that. And he's going to nationals, so I can't wait to see how good he does. But it was just that big brother proud.
Yeah.
So happy for him. And I'm glad. And that was like the real reason why I didn't drop 3 rounds earlier, because I wanted to see, because he was doing so good.
He was killing it.
He was like undefeated for a while, and then he had that one loss in there in like the second third of the event.
And he won another one, and
it was just like I had to be there for him. I had to see what he was doing, and I just, again, very big, very proud moment for me, big brother moment, and that was just the highlight of my year as far as Digimon goes. What was yours?
It's got to kind of piggyback on that, not specifically just for Jacob, but that was my first. So it's Pasadena Regionals again, but it's for just a whole different reason. It was just my first big interaction with the Digimon community in person as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think I can speak for you too. And we were just overwhelmed by how many people just, liked the channel and came up and said hi and wanted to take pictures and pick our brains about things. And it was a lot of fun. And just going down there with a core group of, like, we figured it out, so it worked around everyone's schedules.
Yeah.
We pretty much all got on the same plane. We pretty much all stayed in the same place, and it was really cool just to have kind of a awesome weekend away from life and the wives and the kids and the schooling and whatever else, work and everything else we had going on. It was just an amazing trip, and we were able to see some awesome local shops, meet some awesome people, peruse some really cool vendors. It was just really the first time I felt like I can, like, we go around 20, 25 people every day or every week when we go to locals, but being in a room with like 3,000 like-minded people, it's overwhelming, but also really encouraging because everybody was super, super nice, and we had such a great time. So I'm definitely glad that happened at the end of the year because it was a really cool. I don't think anything else could have beat it.
Nothing would have topped that, right? It was good. I mean, you brought up a great point. Like, I mean, we're just regular dudes, man. We're trying to convey that we are not.
Well, you're the social one.
I am a very social person. I love talking to people. I'm always all about it, which is funny because you always get the more messages on Discord, but it's probably just because I don't use Discord enough. But so people to like be nervous, come meet us, come shake our hand and stuff like that. We were really trying to break that. We were like, nah, man, normal people, come up, meet us. If you want a picture, sure, whatever. I don't know why you want my ugly mug, but
I don't either.
I don't blame you. You got to edit it all the time too. So it really was just an interesting moment. It was a great time, and it was really special, the whole thing, how it ended and stuff.
No, it was good, great time. So. And it's more to come.
More to come.
I'm looking at dates. There's one in Texas in
That is a perfect
March.
segue to my next segment.
Okay, what's that?
New Year's resolutions, baby.
Oh, there you go.
So,
go to more in-person
Is that your big one?
Yeah. I want to try and make it 2 this year.
That's what I wrote down too. But that's not my big one. That's not my number one.
That's my big one because it's hard enough for me to break away from my day-to-day routine and stuff.
Yeah, you really have to plan it.
You do.
Sometimes it feels like they don't give enough notice to these events. I think it was like
the sales for the March one's already on sale.
Yeah.
Went on sale Christmas Eve.
Which is, I guess, technically it's 3 months, 2 months, whatever.
Yeah, but they gave us like 2 days notice that you were able to sign up for it.
Yeah, so it's like hard to commit to things when you and I both know this. We're both married, both careers and all this stuff. It's hard to just drop everything to show up and go.
Yeah, fly to Texas for a weekend.
Because there's finances involved. You got to be responsible because money is a big factor in relationships, and you can't just drop the money to go to Texas to play in a regional.
Yeah.
Without talking to the better half. So it is kind of hard, but I agree with that sentiment of trying to be more involved, whether it's online events, in-person events,
just the community in general.
Whatever we can do to get, more in touch with the community outside of our Pacific Northwest scene. Because, we kind of did a good job, getting a stranglehold out here, right?
Yeah. My other big resolution is to, this is a big shout out to Joe at our locals, start an Instagram for the channel. I need to do that. So I'm gonna do that.
Oh, we don't have an Instagram?
See? He doesn't even know.
I don't use Instagram really that much.
We have a Facebook. I have not made an Instagram. So both part of the same meta thing. So that's gonna be part of my That's my January resolution. I'll get that done before January.
Can I add on something for you?
Sure.
Or you can delegate it to me, that's fine. What do we have to do to get these podcasts on Spotify?
I don't know. I'll figure it out.
We gotta, because I think there's a lot of people that are like asking us when we can get this on Spotify.
I'll have to research it.
And I don't want to keep adding more to your plate, so let me know what I can do to help with that. But I'm definitely curious myself that since you mentioned getting on Instagram.
Okay. If you want us on Spotify, shout out in the comments.
What do we post on Instagram? Do we just do like pictures? I don't use it enough. I'm not very good on that. Yeah, because I think you're right, because Joe's been doing a good job leading the Wayward City Games.
Oh, he's been killing it, yes. And he wants to tag the channel, and I'm like, I'll get to it.
Okay, if you guys are not following Wayward City Games on Instagram, jump on it. They do a great job posting all their games that they play.
Winners Podium.
Winners Podium is really cool. They did a good job with their social media for sure. I definitely like it.
Yeah, more on top of it than we are for sure.
Yeah. I have really one big resolution that I think is the biggest problem in my life. I am organized up to BT5.
Oh, God. Get your life together, buddy.
As far as my physical cards go, I went through BT5 and I made sure I didn't have extras. I had just the right amount where the boxes are nice and organized. And that does include the starter decks before that, but that isn't. It's so irrelevant because nobody uses anything BT5 and earlier at this point.
If they did,
somebody asked me for Final Zubagon Punch, and I was able to get it in 2 seconds, and it was an amazing feeling.
Isn't that good?
That was great.
Yeah.
And I am so behind on all my organization.
Yeah.
I just have piles and boxes, and I'm not happy at all.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
I think a lot of people can relate to this, and I think this might just be good life advice in general. I read this book on I don't want to say hoarding. That's what I wouldn't say. but my mom actually recommended it to me. It's like a cleaning book.
Yeah.
Where if it's more stress in your life to hold on to something, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so like taking advice like that, it was a great book. Just trying to stay organized and get my stuff together, because how many times have I had to ask you for a stupid common or uncommon from a newer set because I just didn't have the time to dig through my boxes.
Out of a set that we opened a case each of.
Yeah, it's like I'm like, Jesse, I need this card. I want to build this deck.
You still
I can't
asked me
find
for
it.
BT6 cards, and you opened 3 cases to yourself.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, and that is
and you'll be
the
like,
problem.
"Do you have a Mega Dramon?" I'm like, "Why?"
After BT6, it just all started going downhill because I had so much stuff that I didn't effectively organize any of it. And so my big resolution for the year is to become more organized, because what's happening to me is my deck profiles are now falling behind. I used to be the #1 contributor back when there was 2 of us with the deck profile videos, because I had so much interest in everything, right? You had the Diaboromon, you had the machine cover and the Ulforce, and I was like, oh, this is a combo that uses 3 cards. I'm going to build this, record a video, and do that and that and that. And then I've really fallen to the wayside, and Basil's really stepped up. Jordan stepped up, Nito stepped up. Everybody's been stepping up in my place to fill the deck profile videos, because by the time I dig out the cards I need, it's taken 3-4 days, and my entire life is gone trying to find BT6 cards that I bought 3 cases of that are not organized.
Yeah.
So I really need to get my stuff together, get these cards organized. You know what I'm saying? And that's my big New Year's resolution, besides what you mentioned of getting into more events and stuff like that. So guys, this was an awesome episode.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. We have such a great fan base. I would love to hear in the comments what your guys' New Year's resolutions are for the game, what your favorite moment was from us on the, you know, we just love the interaction so much, guys. Close it out, man.
Yeah. Here's to hoping for another awesome year. We have some more awesome, cool, amazing videos on the way.
Yeah.
And I have a couple surprises coming for the channel as far as infrastructure changes and things we can do to get better. So stay tuned for those. Have a happy and safe New Year's Eve. And I guess the tacky line is to say we'll see you next year.
See you next year. I love it.